Horrid Henry's sleepover. Horrid Henry loved sleepovers, midnight feasts, pillow fights, screaming and shouting, rampaging till dawn. The time he ate all the ice cream at Greedy Graham's and left the freezer door open. The time he jumped on all the beds at Dizzy Dave's and broke them all. And that time at Rude Ralph's when he, better not mention that one. There was just one problem. No one would ever have Horrid Henry at their house for a sleepover more than once. Whenever Henry went to sleep at a friend's house, Mum and Dad were sure to get a call at about 3 o'clock in the morning from a demented parent screaming at them to pick Henry up immediately. Horrid Henry couldn't understand it. Parents were so fussy, even the parents of great kids like Rude Ralph and Greedy Graham. Who cares about a little bit of noise or a broken bed? Big deal, thought Horrid Henry. It was no fun having friends sleep over at his house. There was no rampaging and no feasting at Henry's. It was lights out at the usual time of 9 o'clock, no talking, no feasting and no fun. So when new Nick, who had just joined Henry's class, invited Henry to stay the night, Horrid Henry couldn't believe his luck. New beds to bounce on, new biscuit tins to raid, new places to rampage. Bliss. Horrid Henry packed his sleepover bag as fast as he could. Mum came in. She looked grumpy. "Got your pyjamas?" she asked. Henry never needed pyjamas at sleepovers because he never went to bed. "I've got them," he said. "Just not with me," he thought. "Don't forget your toothbrush," said Mum. "I won't," said Horrid Henry. He never forgot his toothbrush. He just chose not to bring it. Dad came in. He looked even grumpier. "Don't forget your comb," said Dad. Horrid Henry looked at his bulging backpack stuffed with toys and comics. Sadly, there was no room for a comb. "I won't," lied Henry. "I'm warning you, Henry," said Mum. "I want you on your best behaviour tonight." "Of course," said Henry. "I don't want any phone calls at 3 a.m. in the morning from Nick's parents," said Dad. "If I do, this will be the last sleepover you ever go to, and I mean it." Nag, nag, nag. "All right," said Henry, and off he went. Ding dong! Whoa, 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 whoa. A woman opened the door. She was wearing a Viking helmet on her head and long flowing robes. Behind her stood a man in a velvet cloak, holding back 5 enormous, snarling dogs. "Tra-la-la-boom-de-ay, tra-la-la-boom-de-ay," boomed a dreadful, ear-splitting voice. "Bravo, bravo," shouted a chorus from the sitting room. Growled the dogs. Horrid Henry hesitated. Did he have the right house? Was new Nick an alien? "Oh, don't mind us, dear. It's our opera club's karaoke night," trilled the Viking helmet. "Nick," bellowed the cloak, "your friend is here." Nick appeared. Henry was glad to see he was not wearing a Viking helmet or a velvet cloak. "Hi, Henry," said new Nick. Hi," said Horrid Henry. A little girl toddled over, sucking her thumb. "Henry, this is my sister Lily." Lily gazed at Horrid Henry. "I love you, Henry," said lisping Lily. "Will you marry me?" "No," said Horrid Henry. "Ugh, what a revolting thought." "Go away, Lily," said Nick. Lily did not move. "Come on, let's get out of here," said Henry. No toddler was going to spoil his fun. Now what would he do first? Raid the kitchen or bounce on the beds? "Let's raid the kitchen," said Henry. "Great idea," said Nick. "Got any sweets?" asked Henry. "Loads," said new Nick. Yeah, thought Horrid Henry. His sleepover fun was just beginning. They sneaked into the kitchen. The floor was covered with dog blankets, overturned food bowls, clumps of dog hair and gnawed dog bones. There were a few suspicious-looking puddles, and Henry hoped they were just water. "Here are the biscuits," said Nick. Henry looked. "Were those dog hairs all over the jar?" No thanks," said Henry. "How about some sweets?" "Oh, sure," said Nick. "Help yourself." He handed Henry a bar of chocolate. "Oh, yummy." Henry was just about to take a big bite when he stopped. Were those teeth marks in the corner? Whoa! A big black shape jumped on Henry, knocked him down and snatched the chocolate. Hope you can see the pictures. Nick's dad burst in. "Rigoletto, get back," said Nick's dad, yanking the chocolate bar out of the dog's mouth. "There you go, Henry. Sorry about that, but you can still eat it." Maybe later," said Henry. "OK," said Nick's dad, putting the slobbery chocolate back in the box in the cupboard. "Ugh, gross," thought Horrid Henry.
"I love you, Henry,"
came a lisping voice behind him. "Ha ha 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 ha," warbled a high-pitched, piercing voice from the sitting room. Henry held his ears. Would the window shatter? "Encore! Encore, my love!" shrieked the karaoke club.
"Will you marry me, Henry?"
asked lisping Lily. "Let's get out of here," said Henry. Horrid Henry leapt on Nick's bed. Yippee, he thought, time to get bouncing. Bounce, bounce, crash! The bed collapsed in a heap. "What happened? I hardly did anything." "Oh, I broke the bed ages ago," said Nick. "Dad just said he hasn't had time to fix it yet." "Oh, rats," thought Henry. What a lazy dad. "How about a pillow fight?" said Henry. No pillows. The dogs chewed them. They could sneak down and raid the freezer, but for some reason Henry didn't really want to go back into that kitchen. "I know," said Henry. "Let's watch TV." "Oh, sure," said Nick. "Great idea." "Where is the TV?" said Henry. "It's in the sitting room," said Nick. "But the karaoke's in there," said Henry. "Oh, they won't mind," said Nick. "They're used to the noise in this house." Dum da 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 da. Horrid Henry sat with his face pressed to the TV. He could not hear a word Mutant Max was shrieking with all that racket going on in the background. "Maybe," he said, "we should go to bed. Anything to get away from the noise." "OK," said Nick. Phew, thought Horrid Henry. Peace at last. Horrid Henry turned over in his sleeping bag and tried to get comfortable. He hated sleeping on the floor. He hated sleeping with the window open. He hated sleeping with the radio on. And he hated sleeping in the same room with someone who snored. "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa," howled the big dog outside the door. "I'm just a lonesome cowboy, looking for a lonesome cowgirl," blared the radio. "Sweet mystery of life, at last I found you," came the opera club from downstairs. "Oh," thought Henry, as 5 wet, smelly dogs pounced on him. "Toreador on guard!" boomed the opera karaoke downstairs. Horrid Henry loved noise, but this was just too much. He'd have to find somewhere else to sleep. Horrid Henry flung open the bedroom door.
"I love you, Henry,"
said lisping Lily. Horrid Henry slammed the door quick. Horrid Henry did not move. Horrid Henry did not breathe. He opened the door just a tiny little bit.
"Will you marry me, Henry? I really love you."
"Ah!" thought Horrid Henry, and he ran from the bedroom and barricaded himself in the linen cupboard. He settled down on a pile of towels. Phew, safe at last.
"I want to give you a big kiss, Henry."
"No!" shouted Horrid Henry. It was 3 o'clock in the morning. Tra-la-la-boom-de-ay, tra-la-la-boom-de-ay. I'm just a lonesome cowboy, looking for a lonesome cowgirl. Ooh. Horrid Henry crept to the hall phone and dialed his number. Dad answered. I'm sorry, what did Henry do this time? Shall I come and get him? He said. Yes, wailed Horrid Henry. I need rescuing right now. Come and get me. The end.